Good afternoon, everybody. I'd like to call the June 21st, 2018 meeting of the Sacramento Area Flood Control Agency to order. And Madam Clerk, would you please take roll, establish a quorum, and give us your announcements?
Thank you. Matt Conant, Nick Avdis, Tom Barandis, here. Brian Holloway, here. Cyril Shaw, Angelique Ashby, Jeff Harris,
here.
Rick Jennings, Sue Frost, here. John Natoli,
here.
Susan Peters, Susan McKee,
here.
Phil Cerna.
Here.
We do have a quorum. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This meeting of SAFCA is being broadcast live and will be cablecast without an interruption on Metro Cable 14 and will be re-aired on Saturday, June 23rd at 2 p.m. as well as Sunday, June 24th at noon. This meeting is also webcast at www.sacmetrocable.tv, and streaming video of the board meeting is available on SAFCA's website within 48 hours after the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Director Holloway, will you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So I have no speaker slips, but is there anybody in the audience who would like to make a comment on any item? I see none. Therefore, can we go to item number 1?
Item number 1 is a public hearing, resolution number 2018029, adopting the recommended fiscal year 2018-19 budget.
Okay, I'd like to open the public hearing. The way we'll do this is we'll have a presentation from Mr. Campbell, and then if there is any public comment, if there is not, we can then have director comments, and I'll entertain a motion on the resolution. Mr. Campbell.
Vice Chair Harris, members of the board, thank you very much for being here today. And today we...
Try that.
Is that better now? All right. Again, Jason Campbell, Deputy Executive Director. Today, the item before you today is the fiscal year 2018-2019 recommended budget. The actions today will provide us with the appropriations for the next fiscal year, 18-19. And of course, today is also a little bit of a repeat of what we presented to you last month as our proposed budget going into this meeting today. I would like to say that with each budget, we have to create some assumptions based on what the budget is being built around. Priorities and timelines for our projects are one of those assumptions that we're assuming that nothing changes in those priorities. We also have built into our assumptions and our projects the requirements given to us from state codes and other codes that govern what levees and flood control system needs to be. Along with that, we have assumptions regarding our revenue. Our revenue assumptions include the early implementation program under EIP and UFR, which is a state program, those reimbursements, as well as development impact fee revenues and assessment revenues. Overall, we are asking you to adopt a budget that has appropriations of $116 million. This includes both the sources and uses. This is slightly more than what we had anticipated last month, but with the closeout of the year, we're starting to see some of the changes. One of the main changes is that we are showing that fund balance is a little bit higher than what we had anticipated at the end of May. Along with that, revenues are at $33 million. We are showing that expenses for next fiscal year approaching $85 million with some intra-fund transfers and some reserves being appropriated. So again, some of the major changes there are really just an increase in about $8 million in fund balance. On the sources side, the sources of our funds, all 6 funds are shown here. Slight changes in 325A of about $100,000. And we will show you some changes in 325H, which is our Consolidated Capital Assessment District Fund, where you will see some changes in some expenditures in real estate as well as at the JFP and dam raise programs. Everything else on the expense side, very slight expenditures. increases, again, associated with Consolidated Capital Assessment District, and a small change in 325A, which is our operating fund, which would be considered our general fund. Overall, 325A is, last month it was 7.9. We're saying it's about $8 million. It's identified in detail in your budget packet, as well as posted online for the public to see. Salaries and services and other items are basically the same. On the revenue side, this is identical to what was presented last month. 7.6 million total in revenues and reimbursements, with assessment revenue at 6.3 million and reimbursements around 1.2. And of course, we see a little bit of interest on our fund balances and reserve. On the development impact fee, we have basically the identical numbers as last month. Just wanted to bring this to your attention because we do have some capital projects that are being funded through the DIF and want to be able to highlight some of those projects. So again, the Yellow Bypass, we have some activities that are taking place in the Yellow Bypass regarding eco restoration or eco projects, as well as our flood control projects of setback levees. And then we also have the work that's being done on the Elkhorn Basin, which includes the Bright landfill and some pre-work for the WRDA 16 efforts that we hope the Corps will be doing soon. We move on to our Fund 325H, which is our Consolidated Capital Assessment District number 2. This is the bulk of the SAFCA appropriations. $74.2 million in expenses, covers a number of projects that are listed in your packet. Exhibit 1 for Exhibit F, I believe it is. So the list of projects includes a couple that I'm going to go ahead and highlight here for you. First of all, the services and supplies are a number of expenses that we see in the general ledger that aren't necessarily attributed to the specific capital projects, but may actually include support for O&M and other activities within the fund for Assessment District CC82. And then we obviously have a number of capital expenditures approaching the $68 million range. On the revenue side, we anticipate $21 million in revenue primarily from the state, as well as net assessment revenue after debt service. And then again, we have a little bit of a fund balance there that generates a little bit of interest. This is the basic breakdown of how our funds are being spent on those capital projects. You can see that the LAP efforts is a little over 50% of the total capital spend anticipated this coming year, as well as we just have barely under 30% of the efforts going towards Natomas and the support of the federal project there. In addition, we've seen a slight uptick in the funding going into Folsom Dam and American River Common Features and line items from the Corps. And then we have the other button there, which is actually, we have a little uptick there of $2 million where we added some contingencies for uncertainty coming forward. So as we look at our program and we highlight a couple of projects, here we have the Folsom Dam. You can see a small increase in the joint federal project, and that is in relationship to SAFCA's cost share of money that was provided through the Federal Corps of Engineers work plan. The Corps of Engineers announced their work plan. It's been a little over a week now, and that work plan indicated that they have $26 million appropriated in fiscal year 19 for the remaining version of fiscal year 18 for the Corps budget. And again, we are continuing our efforts on moving forward with the Folsom Dam raise along with the Corps and Bureau partners. We continue to work on, and you'll have a couple items today, on our LAP North Area Streams efforts. Primary function in this coming fiscal year is the construction phase, and we hope that will be the final construction phase for this portion of the LAP program. You can see that this is basically identical to what we presented to you in May. Moving on to the Sacramento East Levee, Sacramento River East Levee, LAP portion. Again, efforts are advancing the design and all of the pre-construction activities, including dealing with LERDs and encroachments and some of the other fun subjects we'll get to talk about in the future. But you can see those activities are continuing as proposed last month. As we walk into the Natomas Arena, we can see that this has ticked up a bit. We have seen that we're getting ready to ramp up for the efforts that the Corps is bringing forward. They continue to see good funding through the work plans and other federal budget pieces. In advance of that, we are having to step up our real estate transactions and other components to keep the projects ready for performance by the Corps. So one of the items that did change between May and this current version of the budget is the real estate line item has ticked up by about $5.5 million. That is in relationship to some of the activities that were budgeted in current year now rolling over into the proposed fiscal year. With that, I want to pause, maybe ask, I'm going pretty quick here. Are there any questions regarding the projects or one of the activities that we're proposing?
Questions from directors? Director Holloway.
Yeah, Brian Holloway. Just from the Finance Committee point of view, Jason did a really great job of, over several meetings, explaining the budget to us and going through all the details. And I know that the Finance Committee was very happy with the work, and so wanted to recommend approval to the full board.
Very good.
All right. Well, I think I'll jump a couple slides then. Thank you very much, sir. And significant issues to consider, as we indicated in last year, the federal appropriations are something a bit of a wild card for us. And then state funding for money in 84, where we're still waiting for the state for the governor to sign the budget, but looks like things are promising. So I think, Ryan, we are there. So in accordance with the Government Code Section 29,000, staff recommends that the Board of Directors adopt Resolution 2018-029, adopting the SAFECA's fiscal year 2018-19 budget.
Thank you very much, Jason. I don't have any speaker slips, but I wanted to ask again if there's any public comment on the budget. Seeing none, do we have any directors' comments? Questions?
Move adoption.
So we'll have to, can you, in your motion, move to close the public hearing?
Can do that.
Very good. So we have a motion to close the public hearing and adoption of the fiscal year 2018-19 budget. We have a second from Director Holloway. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Very good work, Jason. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Next item,
number
please.
2 is the Executive Director's Report for June 21st, 2018.
Good afternoon, and just following up a little bit on what Director Holloway said, we appreciate the time the Finance Committee puts in. They come over and meet with us quite often and help us discuss through a number of issues and how to present and how to, when we have questions on things, so really do appreciate the time. Thank you. Okay, a couple of things. So, the legislature did pass the state FY 18-19 budget. It hasn't been signed yet, but we're expecting that the funding that was put in for flood and in the May revise, the governor included $170 million for the state cost share of U.S. Army Corps of Engineer projects in urban areas. So that was very much appreciated on there, and it stayed in what the legislature passed, so we expect it'll stay in the final one. I do want to do a few thank yous on that. We met with a lot of people. A lot of people helped get that in there because, quite frankly, we had a number of projects that the state did not have their cost share for this fiscal year, and so the governor and his staff included it, as I mentioned, in their May revise in response. Secretary Laird, the Department of Finance and the legislative analyst offices all were very helpful, as was DWR Director Nemeth and Eric Koch in particular over there. And then the Senate and Assembly budget subcommittees, everyone was very responsive. Senator Pan and Senator Nielsen in particular took up the charge on that. And then some of our local delegation, Assembly member Kevin McCarty was very helpful in some of his suggestions in the way we approached it. And then our other Assembly members were very helpful, as well as they had a number that had formed a flood coalition caucus. They were also very helpful. The mayor went out of his way to come to our aid in supporting it over there, sent a letter and other support. And I want to thank Jack Walco, Bob Gore from our Walco Group Consulting, and then Jason spent an awful lot of time over at the Capitol there. So it was a huge help to get that funding, and it also helped us as we went to DC to be able to say that we had our match with it. So at the federal level, one thing did happen. As back in March 23rd, when the federal government finally passed and executed the fiscal year 2018 appropriations bill for the Corps, Congress had added another $360 million for flood to be divvied up in a work plan, and so that work plan finally came out. We originally had about a little over $26 million in the president's budget. We were able to more than double that, adding another $37 million in the work plan for a total of about 60 plus million. So that was very helpful, but there's still one other thing that we're waiting for there. Back in February, Congress passed a $15 billion plus supplemental emergency appropriations. Over $5 billion of that, or a little under $5 billion, I'm sorry, California is eligible with a number of other states. And so we're hoping to be able to get some significant funding for some of the other projects in that bill, and that funding lasts until it's expended, so it's not on an annual basis. That was supposed to be out already, but it's at OMB. They're going back and forth with the Corps right now, so I'm guessing it's going to be sometime in July before we see it. But it's been very helpful to be able to have the state funding to go back and say we're all ready. So last week we had our board chair trip to DC. So our chair Nick Avdis went, board member Patrick Kennedy also went with us. I want to thank, and Jason went also. I want to thank Bori Steinberg, who is our consultant back there, for technical consultant for Corps of Engineers and Assistant Secretary of the Army activities. He attended some of the meetings. And of course, Mike Strawn does a great job of setting everything up and keeping us on track and keeping things moving back there for us. So we had a number of meetings. There's the message we were trying to go back there with, thankful for what was in the work plan. We are ready to take on additional work in the supplemental, and we were able to provide them with a number of activities that SAFCA is doing in support of the Corps to get ready to implement that. And a number of things, such as we are working with the Corps, will help supplement some of their resources where they have some shortages, so that we can get these projects in the ground. That message was well received, and the one I do want to highlight on there was we did have a meeting with Assistant Secretary of the Army, R.D. James. He was very well received our message. He was very complimentary of SAFCA. He said most people come in with their hands out, not knowing what to do with their flood issues, but we come in with proposals as to how to move things forward and how we're helping with the Corps and getting things done. So I just wanted to mention that, because he was very complimentary on that.
Not to mention our local match in place.
And our local match was in place. That was our first item that we had on the list that we gave them. So, right. So with that, that's all I had on that. But I put in front of you this. I just barely got this. You probably saw heard on the news or saw articles today. The administration put out its plan for reorganizing the federal government. They were talking about combining various agencies, even some of the cabinet level members, but this is just an excerpt from it, and basically what the proposal is here is to take the Civil Works portion of the Corps of Engineers and move them out from under the Department of Defense. The proposal is to move the transportation, commerce, navigation type, like they use in the Mississippi River, over to the Department of Transportation, and then the flood and regulatory type activities over to the Department of the Interior. So since this came out, it was part of the report, I wanted to make you aware of that. We probably have as much to be affected by as any agency in the country right now, as we have the largest flood activity going on. And as you might imagine, trying to change agencies while we're trying to implement these projects could be a bit of a challenge. So we're making you aware. We'll have to see what happens with all this and where it leads. But so that's all I had on this right now.
Very good. Any comments from directors? Thank you very much,
Thanks.
Rick.
The next item would be consent matters, and items 2 through 10 are in order.
Do you have any questions or comments from directors? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion for consent. Moved by Director Holloway. Second by Director Brandes. All those in favor of consent? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Very good. Consent passes. Next item.
Separate matters, item 11, resolution number 2018037, consideration of the final environmental impact report on the American River Watershed Common Features General Reevaluation Report as a responsible agency, approving the recommended plan and directing the executive director to negotiate a project partnership agreement.
Okay, thank you. So just real quickly, just a reminder that in December of 2016, Congress authorized the work that was identified in the American River Common Features GRR, $1.6 billion approximately, so it's been our largest authorization to date. Kind of covers the areas on the erosion work on the American River, the levee and erosion work on the Sacramento River, the north area, and then widening the Sacramento Weir and bypass. You're aware of all this, but there's over 500,000 people in the floodplain, and so the GRR addressed all the other geotechnical issues and other type of issues that hadn't been hit by the other projects that are already in place. And so the three main components of the GRR is addressing the rest of the under seepage on the levees, erosion protection, and then widening the Sacramento Weir and bypass. Just graphically, the yellow areas are where the seepage is being addressed, and the red is the erosion. Up to 11 miles on the American River. As we've gotten into more detail, it's not going to be anywhere near that, but they wanted to have the upper bound covered. About 9 on the Sacramento River, again, not anywhere near that. And then under seepage on the east side tributaries, and then widening the Weir and bypass. So the board approved a resolution in March of 2014 to have us be the local cost share agreement. And then in 2015, the draft EIR was released. The board approved a resolution with our intent to be the non-federal sponsor in 2015. And then the final EIR was published in December of 2015 with a revised one in May. And then the Central Valley Board certified it in April of 2016. So we're expecting funding for the American River Common Features work that was authorized in Ward of 2016 in the supplemental. So we're working with the state and Corps to get ready to enter into a project partnership agreement. So we want to go ahead and take action on the EIR here at our board so that we can be ready to sign that there. So with that, we just like to recommend approval of the Resolution 2018-37, which approves the recommended plan contained in the EIR and does all the stuff we need to for the CEQA coverage there. So I know that doesn't sound very technical, Holly, but it's in there.
Any questions? Comments? How about a motion? We have move for approval from Director Frost, and I'll go ahead and second. Oh, Director Brandes second. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed, abstentions? Seeing none, that passes.
Item number 12, resolution number 2018038, consideration of the final supplemental environmental impact statement and environmental impact report for the Folsom Dam Raise project as a responsible agency and approving the project.
All right, so just as we're moving forward, now that we're closing out the JFP, the final, they're doing some of the cleanup work on the JFP. We're getting ready to move forward with the dam raise, hoping to go to construction in 2020. So just real briefly, it was authorized way back in 2003. So just a reminder, we actually built the bridge out there as part of the authorization for the dam raise to get the traffic off the top of the dam so that we could do that. But we were always going to follow the work at Folsom. At the time it was the Folsom Mods project with the dam raise. Well, when the Folsom Mods project kind of went south in 2005 and we had to reformulate and ended up with the JFP, that delayed us moving forward with the dam raise. So that's why there's such a long time between the authorization and when we're getting moving forward now. So the problem with is Folsom, looking down on it, it's not a good spot for a dam really. There's 12 dikes and dams that form in addition to the main dam because they just fill in low spots in the topography and old river channels there. But it's downstream of the confluence of the North and South Fork of the American River. So that's why it was built there. So we're raising the dam 3.5 feet, so we have to raise all the structures 3.5 feet, and then we have to redo the gates on the main dam so that they can handle the higher water levels there. Originally, it was authorized for a 7-foot dam. Dam raise after the Folsom Mods was reformulated to the Joint Federal Project, then we had to reformulate the dam raise and it came back in at a 3.5-foot one with the two working together there. And this was all documented back in 2007. So, and what we're asking you to adopt today is just a supplemental based on newer information to what was in the original SEIR and then the one that was also adopted in 2007. So this is a supplemental to that. And we've already got the approvals we need to, and we're processing the project participation agreement, but we do need to certify this before we go to construction. So the Central Valley Board just did theirs about a month ago, so we're asking our board to do this today. So with that, recommend that you adopt this, this resolution 2018-38.
Any questions or comments? Moved by Director Cerna, second by Director Natoli. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Very good. Well, we got through the agenda. Do we have any further comments or questions from directors before we adjourn? I see none. We are adjourned at 3:33.